Hello. Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to all. If I have anybody here from Israel in particular, yes, I'm kind of allowed to do that. You guys, I wish you. I hope and pray if I'm allowed to, which I'm not that sort of type of person, but if I'm allowed to use the terminology and say, for the best for all you, and everything's gonna be fine. And yeah, let's get into business. Let me just switch the screen. Don't worry, I did not forget. Let's look at the market. I honestly I wasn't sure whether I'm gonna do this all together. Those of you who know, we just got a huge barrage of rockets launched at us from Iran. Um, I've heard all sorts of numbers ranging between the 200 and the 400 range amount in the amount. Um, we had also a terrorist attack that happened simultaneously or just prior to the launch started in Tel Aviv. So many people got killed and injured as well. I've posted, those of you who are from the Discord community, I've posted links to keep you guys informed in the breaking news. Um, yeah. Hi, Johnny. Hi, everybody. I hope you've seen. Um, it's when it rains, it pours. I can't even have my own time to grieve quietly, and we are dealing with this. We were supposed to get into holiday tomorrow on Israeli New Year, and well, it's not that surprising that this is what happened. As you can hear, I'm currently fine, as fine as I can be. Had to spend some time prepping the shelter. We had some stuff we were lacking on, we figured out. And so we decided now it's definitely the time to make sure everything is set and prepped. So sadly, I had to spend some time on that as well afterwards. Now I'm home. Everything is as okay as it can be. Took me a while to run through some of my friends and family members and so forth to make sure everybody's fine. But yeah, quite eventful stuff. Can we actually say the same thing about the market today? Not really. I'm gonna admit the market today was quite uneventful. Going into the dock strikes, it seems like Democrats are not too worried. I don't know if 99%, Mamba. I've heard all sorts of numbers, and I would recommend sort of waiting and before making any real assumptions about it. I would recommend waiting and trying to see whether actually uh, that's the case, because as far as I've heard, that is not the case. And actually, I understand there were some hits. Understand there are some injured people, so I don't know if that's the case, Mamba. By the way, before I go and run through the stuff, hello everybody from Danny to Brad, Olimiu, Gene, Arnon, hi, hello, Johnny, Danny, Mamba, Gene, Joey, Gene, Leo, hi, hello everybody, Hook them, Chobi, Tim, the one and only Tim, of course, brother from another mother. Um, Glad you are safe. Like I said, none of us sadly are. I am as safe as it is possible to be, besides like the prime minister and like actual underground bunkers and whatnot. Hello, lovely people. Please make sure to like, smash, and of course, right, Christoph. Thank you very much for reminding me. Like, subscribe, and all that wonderful stuff. Although I believe we probably have our usuals here more than anything. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's it. I think we've done with the rambling. Let's get into this. It's not all that exciting today in the market, if to be really, really objective. Where's our transition? Right here from the 30th, we basically had that knee jerk that I said we're probably gonna have post JP speaking. We had a bit of a rally. We actually broke down, climbed back up really quickly, very rapidly. We had this knee jerk all over the place. Towards the end, of course, we had that rally. Today we opened up with a gap, which I'm very, very unhappy with. Those who know this is just very annoying. That means we have a chore above our head. On the one hand, it's something that will inherently, inevitably close when we're going to be moving up eventually at some point. So it's one of those things that don't really bother or worry us, but I rather have sort of the calm of knowing it's closed. So I'm really unhappy with this thing. I was actually more hopeful that the market will close it prior to continuing its move to the downside, but that's what we got. The market was basically moving sideways. Yeah, you can see how it really is structured. It wasn't, of course, in a single channel. There was a dual channel here that's going on. Let's look at our stochastic RSI as we like to use it to figure out what we can see forward from where we are. We're about to close in about 5 minutes, so basically we're seeing the upcoming 5 minutes. There's not anything here that's going to be able to surprise us all that much. At least I don't foresee that. We definitely didn't have a I wouldn't call it, a power hour nor a negative power hour, so we didn't really have either. On the 5 minutes we are technically bearish, but we are getting, because 5 minutes is rather rapid, so we know we spend in these processes sort of in between. These are usually end up being like half a session, maybe a small partition of the session, depends. We can kind of read from that what we're about to do. So in reality, our next session is probably going to take us upwards at some point, even if not immediately. Plus we're going to burn off some momentum through the night, so don't forget that's an indication of what we're going to see through the night in the continuous contract futures, if you will. Right here we are kind of confusing, but that looks, again, at face value, it's becoming bearish in a movement, in an upwards movement. So it's those who are objectively understanding these things, understand this more indicates more of a steepening of the curve, right? We're going to see something that the curve is basically becoming slower and slower and slower, slower momentum on the upside and faster momentum on the downside. That's kind of implying that. But again, let's verify. Let's see what 45 also drags us onwards. 1 hour did not really change all that much. We spoke about this just the other day. So we're just kind of killing time, if you will, more so moving sideways. We still have a gap below us to close, quite a significant gap that was opened just recently right there. I know you can't really see it because of the candlesticks. We can see it on the 1 minute. I'm maybe going to do this a little later. You'll have to trust me, bro. There is a gap right there. I do perceive this to be a sort of a beginning of that turnaround, something we spoke about again. Guess what? Not a big surprise, exactly what we foresaw coming, right? So the 1 day is becoming a little bit more bearish as we go, right? It is still in overbought territory, so right now it is just eating away at that bullish momentum. It can't really execute a whole movement to the downside. This is a part of how we think we're going to see that correction. Of course, we understand it's not going to be necessarily straightforward. It might probably going to be some form of retest. Don't look at the time frames I'm giving here. I'm just, drawing the idea out. It's probably, in fact, it's going to be almost condensed this way, right? Because they're adjacent, all these candlesticks. But we're basically slowly moving to the downside, and the faster we're gonna go, and the faster we're gonna get into oversold territory, the more we see the market actually selling off, taking us back to that 5555555 range and all other ranges we're familiar with in that vicinity. So we have that, and where were we? Let's go to our weekly. Our weekly is kind of in between. We said this is turning out to be far more of a bearish movement than a bullish movement. And again, it's sort of stuck in between. And in that case, we see at face value, it's bullish. but it is not really moving to the upside, more so having entanglement and back and forth, so the convergence, divergence. Let's look at the monthly. That's something we were expecting to see. Yes, we're finally having again dominance of the bearish momentum, which is not that surprising. We've been expecting this, but remember, this is just the first session. Let's see how it will proceed. And the more we're going to see the bearish momentum coming from the smaller time frames, inherently we're going to see it slip through and actually show up on the larger time frames, which means the monthly. Okay. Now, really, the 3 months haven't really adjusted as much. Like I said, we're probably going to deviate outside of that channel. Again, doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but what we will shortly see, the more we're going to see the curvature of the smaller time frames, and more so the monthly, which, remember, until the next candlestick closure, of course, we have 3 months basically now. So quite a bit of time. And once it gets to that point, that whole quarter, we will probably by then see the next leg, which will be positioned more to the downside rather than to the upside the way it is right now, coming from the smaller time frames. We also know we have the trouble of the larger ones. This will not change for 3 more months until the end of the year. And of course, the final quarter to finalize this year as well. This is where we're going to see this structure either confirm or reject my thesis, right? We're going to have this channel either to take place and the structure here to continue to the downside. The further it's going to go to the downside, the more bearish momentum we're going to get. Okay, so that's just for those who are not familiar, just kind of reiterating stuff we already spoke about. So all in all, we're not all that surprised, but more so we're not that impressed with today's movement. Is just killing more time, and that's what it seems like. Those who are familiar understand what's going on. All of the people, right. Glad you're safe. Mad respect for doing a live in these conditions. Right now, it's actually rather quiet. It's not like there is an active siren right now and I need to run. The reason I'm doing the live right now is because I made an assessment that right now probably we're going to be striking back, if anything. So I probably have a window of opportunity to actually do this before I might need to run to the shelter, which will potentially will happen actually about now or a little bit later. We'll see. But at least I was hoping to have that window of time. And yes, I do expect potentially to have to need to run to the shelter shortly. So yeah. It's not that simple. It's actually very complicated what's going on here. And sadly, look, guys, this is not... Those who know better. I'm not the one to play on emotions. I'm definitely not that sort of person. And I'm not proud of saying that we're not safe. If anything, we'll be far prouder of saying, yes, we are safe, don't worry about it, kind of thing. But also, I'm not the person to lie. I am saddened to say the reality is that none of us are truly safe. That is... I mean, I was actually thinking on going live at some point while being in the shelter, so you guys can get, or maybe just leaving my phone somewhere outside, so you guys can capture what was going on. But then I realized it will be dumb and very risky of me, because there is already plenty of footage online. You can see exactly what it was looking like. Go to the breaking news on the Discord or Geopolitics. I've posted multiple videos, and you can see exactly how crazy what we had here was. And I will tell, I mean, just in the shelter for the short period of time that I myself was in it, and you cannot hear all that well, I can tell you that I've counted about 60-ish rockets, and that's just the ones that are in my vicinity. Right? And it's very hard to count because there were kids. There's a lot of noise going on in the shelter. We have a shelter for the whole building. So it's, as you can imagine, a lot of people. Of course, not everybody actually goes. But yeah, it was quite noisy. It was hard to discern, but I've counted at least 60 in my vicinity in a short period of time, at least a bare minimum of that you are in Israel right now. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, guys. I tremendously appreciate your wishes and all that. I mean, honestly, that really does warm my heart, and I really feel blessed, I guess, to have such a great community, such a positive community. The problem is also, like I said, I'm not gonna lie and pretend everything is great when it's not. If the 5 minute ends on bullish momentum, but then the market closes, will it open up the next day where it left off, or is it Danny? It's there are futures that are going to be traded, and there is post market basically, and so no, the look, that you're asking is amazing. You're actually asking a very good question. I was just explaining it to my student the other day. Danny, I'm sorry to tell you that the explanation to this is a little bit more complicated than I will, first of all, want to, let alone to spend the time and just sort of disclose here in such an open fashion, because there's a lot of IP and sort of extra knowledge, or extra sprinkles, if you will, of stuff that is recommended to know. Danny, right now the academy is locked. I'm sorry. I'm such an asshole. It's like, yeah, I can learn in the academy. Can I sign up to the academy? No, it's locked. But I highly recommend. Then I'll be able to look. It's not just that. It's a very complex system, and it hinges on itself. I cannot try and teach you how to do fractions when you don't know how to count. If that makes sense, really, and it's more to that, if anything. It's a very good question. We Wow, I can't explain it in any way that's going to be understood to you without having the fundamentals. That's, I'm sorry. This is the reality of it. Very good, Jordy. Very good question. I mean, in reality, we also discussed how it could have been just 5,800. We're not. That's very interesting to try and explain. First of all, we don't time the market. We locate the structure, or if you will, supports and resistances, the things that actually make the market move, and we discern what potentially the market is going to do in the near term up to the long-term future based upon momentum. So I cannot with 100% certainty yet tell you that we've reached all, like that's it, that was the high. We've been going far too high, if you ask my opinion, for the last $500, right? To be 100% frank with you. It's not that what we're doing right now is impossible. It was just very improbable, sorry. And it did happen. So the way it works is a little bit different than I think you understand. And no, I cannot tell you with certainty that 57.50 is the highest point, but it seems like basically the correction can happen at any moment. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen overnight. It can happen, on Monday. We are on the edge of the cliff. We are already seeing the actual valley in between, right? That location to which we will fall to if so. Usually people, those who are familiar, realize that these things are very difficult to discern. And earlier it took a while until I was actually able to tell you the exact sort of location to where we're going to correct. If you would have been with us during 2019, 2020, and onwards, you would have known that I predicted most of that stuff as well. And you know what actually ended up being far more accurate in terms of the bottom back then than I have been on the all-time high this time around, which is hilarious because it's supposed to be the opposite, because it's harder to discern the bottom supposedly. But the reality is that we are at very abnormal conditions, and the market, basically this is where the quote of the market can stay irrational longer than we can remain solvent is applicable here perfectly. And that's actually the sad reality of this situation. And people are basically following FOMO and completely being blinded and conditioned into the situation, which I've been saying that this was going to happen for a long time. I've been warning about this. And if we're objective about current economic conditions, regardless of whether we're looking, the job sector, at basically at employment right now, the types of jobs, from energy to inflation itself, to how the Fed are reacting, to geopolitical conditions, and external internal policies, you name it. Ukraine, Russia still, China in potential, China and the whole region, let's be frank. It's not just China, Taiwan. There's bunch of China and the whole region. China is just literally bullying everybody in the whole region. And there's so much more. The dock strikes that potentially can cripple the U.S. for, it's going to cost you like $500 million, upwards of $500 million a day. And that is just, lowballing estimates, because there's no one to try and make it sound even more panicky than what it is. And Biden seems to be asleep as always. He's too busy getting a tan instead of dealing with all the problems. One hell of a president you guys got there right now. So, and Miss Stowe Harris is just, she's a straight up C word, right? And I wouldn't trust her with a broom. I wouldn't trust that lady with a freaking broom. So yeah. No, Danny, it's a marvelous question. You actually asked a very, very good question, and I was just explaining it. Look, even when I explain it, if I'll be banging that thing into your head for an hour, you still might not necessarily certainly get it. It's premised on some other things that I teach, prior to. But, I heard $6 billion. No. 6 billion a day? No, Chris, that is too much. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Even if it costs you $1 billion a day on the East Coast and $1 billion a day on the West Coast, even 1.5 on both ends, which is just insane, right? You still end up with 3-ish. And I mean, it could get as high as maybe 3 on both ends, but not 6. 6 is too much. 6 is just, no. For that, wow. It's not like it's impossible. It's not like it's impossible, really, to... Well, no. No, you can't get to... It's far too much. It's far too much. Unless we adjust to current costs. No, I think they're done it as well. No, you don't get to 6 no matter what. It's impossible. Far too much money. That's just insane. I don't see enough correlation to make it 6 in any form or crazy, way. Hope you are safe, man. What part of Israel are you in? I'm in the center. I'm in the absolute center of Israel. Do you still expect for the public, or you what for pullback? Okay, for a pullback, not public. Do you expect it for a pullback, or you changed your mind? Something in your expectation? No, in fact, I bought more SQQQ. I heard 6 billion a day. Yeah, no, like we said, no, we don't. Okay, just stay calm. Ballistic missiles is what? It's hard to just throw stay calm ballistic missiles and scariest. I'm not sure 100% understood that one, Mamba, but I think I have. I'm not sure though. We can hear your voice. Now I'm confused. We can. Okay. Wait, I think I might have missed something in the chat there. Okay. And bullish momentum. No, yeah, I've read that. Yeah, I think I've skipped. Okay, thoughts. Yeah, with me in Israel. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I got lost somewhere somehow. Not sure how that happened, but anyway. Yeah, I guess that's it for tonight, boys and girls. I don't have a lot to say. We kind of spoke about the market. Nothing really changed. Again, the process that we're talking about mostly, but we're just kind of following up with the price action as we're getting there, which is very slow. Just to make sure that we are actually moving in that correct direction that we're seeing on the larger time frames. Is that going to be immediate? No. The same way I've showed before, and this is why we're not taking any biases, and this is where like people expect me to be all excited. Oh, look, that's a good day for a triple K. It doesn't matter. This is not what we're waiting for. Not just for this knee-jerk all over the place movement. No, for a very confident movement to the downside. And usually these let's call them, for the sake of this analogy, cycles, right, or processes on the larger time frames. And this is what I'm trying to reiterate and show you every time, to bring it back to earth to you guys, so you remember that the larger the time frame, although it seems like it shrinks because it becomes only a couple of candlesticks, maybe 2 3, that's 2 or 3 years, because every single one is a year. And I want you to comprehend how slow these processes can be. And you've seen this, in fact. If you really are objective, we know these processes of the turnaround are very, very, very slow. Look at, even when it's obvious that it was going to happen, right? Look at 2019, 2020. But once it does, and remember, there's a reason we keep on saying it. Every one of us has their own, quote or way of saying it. I say, we game in droplets and lose in buckets, right? Tom says the market goes up in the stairs and goes down in the elevator. Guys, you've seen this many, many, many times. Once a correction hits, it's very rapid. Most people will not even have the time to comprehend or be able to actually analyze what's going on when it will. And it's going to be very, very steep and very, very rapid, like we said. There will be corrections, right, to keep people distracted and remaining to be hopeful and sort of keeping faith that everything is going to be fine. Yeah, the market doesn't really work on faith or hugs or prayers or anything of that sort. It works on money. And this is going to be not the first time around the market makers are pulling off that particular exact one trick. It's crazy how every cycle is the same trick, really. Pardon me, had to drink a little bit, got parched. So yeah, I think we're going to adjourn today. I see, I don't even know if I'm going to jump on Discord. I have so many calls just during that live. I had 4 calls and 3 messages. Okay, so I have to get back to people. Yeah. I'm definitely need to figure out how my night is gonna look like. I'm not even sure, even if originally I was planning to do some sessions today, and I'm just all over the place. My brain is just all over the place. Thank you, Mamba. I try to. I'm not one of those, pretending to be invincible guys. Like, I go to the shelter. I don't do any of that bullshit. I make everybody, my brother's girlfriend, everybody go to the shelter, run around, make sure our like the people, the other occupants of the building as well, everything is set. In fact, after we just been there, I went back down to fix stuff, to clean stuff, just so everything will be set if we're gonna actually end up needing it. So thank you very much, boys and girls. Thank you very much, bros and sisters. I tremendously appreciate that. I will do my best. Sadly, it is not 100% up to me, and in fact, I'm amazed that I was able to run through the whole live that I've done here now for as long as it was. I was actually thinking I'm probably gonna have to run away at some point because of how messy everything is, and there probably will be another barrage. I mean, just amazed in fact that I was able to go through this long. Yeah, no, I'm not. I really am. I mean, guys, these are rockets the size of like 3-story rockets, right? These are fucking gigantic things. Even if they had 0 explosive, they can take out the building with the sheer mass of the metal. You think I'm here to F around with that stuff? With all due respect, if I have, if I have a firearm and I have some like a logical situation, I'm gonna try to handle it. But I mean, give me a firearm, what I'm gonna try and shoot at the rocket? That's not gonna help me much. I just sit there and hope that Iron Dome is gonna do its job. And again, I've heard some. Uh, I'm not sure about even if there was some interceptions that was it SC, I think it said 99%. There was pretty I'm pretty certain there was one of the explosions was so even if there was an interception, it was so goddamn low it felt like as if it was a an actual landing. So hello, next level. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, yeah, I will do my best, boys and girls. Next level, I think you got a little bit late. We are adjourning this because I need to run and potentially get ready for another crazy barrage of rockets. And I wish you all and thank you, and wish you all a wonderful evening wherever you guys are at, and never to experience such shit as I'm experiencing right now. It's definitely not fun. Greg, were you able to hear the interceptions? Yes, of course. In fact, I thought of on putting my again. I decided you can go to Mike. Go to on our Discord in the breaking news. You can see footage of the interceptions and some of the launches. Although that's definitely not all of it. In fact, this time around, like it was a lot longer than we stayed in the shelter, and yeah, we could hear pretty much anything that was happening in our vicinity. Although there were some points the kids were very noisy and I couldn't hear. There was like a period of several minutes there, but yeah, we could actually hear the interceptions. Some of them were closer, some of them were higher up in the sky. We had all sorts of like it was all sorts of stuff going on at the same time, so hard to make sure um, how close some of them were because the shelter and it sort of reverberates and does this echo thing and weird stuff. But I can tell you that some of them were very close, like very close and very powerful as well. Even I myself, I'm still waiting to see all the outcome of everything. So, all right, that's it, boys and girls. I tremendously appreciate you all showing up. Gotta say, I hate to admit it, but this definitely helped me take my mind off of my very unfortunate situation with my uh, very, very loving, amazing cat that I used to have. Very sad. But yeah, that was a bit, I mean, it's not like I can sit and not be able to have my mind taken off. Maybe that's, when it rains it pours, but on the other hand, not gonna lie, that slightly helped here in this instance. Boys and girls, I love you a ton. I don't have the words to describe, or at least not right now. They don't come to mind because my brain is stupid. Very bad. Yeah, yeah. No, next, it's crazy. If you've missed the beginning, it's pretty crazy what was going on here. Look at the news cycle. It was insane. Yeah, I'm trying to keep safe. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. 2, 3 hits in northern Tel Aviv. No, no, no way, Mamba. I know there were more. I mean, maybe two. Maybe you know what? Maybe because I know there was. I think last I've heard there were more than that just around Tel Aviv and the vicinity. But I think several of them are fragments, are just debris falling from the sky, not actual hits per se. I think it's debris. I know Jerusalem. Also, there were hits in Jerusalem as well. No, Jane, guys are the men and the ladies. You guys are awesome. If you want our support, jump to live. Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely go jump to live. I definitely, it's not like I need the support, but I probably will jump into the live right now to hang out with you guys for the couple of minutes while I can. Because my brain is all over the place, boys and girls. My brain is all over the place. I can't believe I was able to run through the whole, analysis part. It's almost like you are. It's this weird adrenaline rush I cannot explain, and I know I cannot explain. In fact, several times before today's live, when I almost felt as if the rush was over, right? but only then I realized the day after how long it took, and I basically sort of transitioned from that adrenaline rush into sleep, and only you realize only tomorrow because your entire body is just aching. It's just it feels like you've been run over by a truck, just got hit by I don't know, a rocket or something. Videos. What do you mean? On the breaking news, I posted plenty of videos, and there are plenty of footage right there in the breaking news and in the Discord. Yeah, possible now. Next level. Where you live, Greg? In flat or house? A flat. Well, a flat. It's an apartment. It's an apartment building. It's not too tall. It's not like a skyscraper. Just a regular building. Nothing too fancy. Regular stuff. I'm slowly saving up to buy a private house with some land, which is just stupid expensive in Israel. Those who know. And I definitely am looking for an area that I'm going to be very, very happy with. But it's not easy in Israel. Israel is very expensive. Those who know. The breeze outside, we would be in a different situation. Yeah, no, absolutely. Please be safe. I'm doing my best. I'm doing whatever I can to be safe. Hey, KK, thank you. Hey, you must change your nickname, man. It was already twice that I think I went with the triple K by accident because of the, how it sort of works. I'm gonna get banned because of you, brother. I'm gonna get banned, man. I'm gonna get in trouble. Anyway, boys and girls, like I said, love you much. I will see you all. Time for us to adjourn this. See you on the Discord.